Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome out to another RGL 6's matchup tonight. My name's Godfather. I am joined by Jarrett on comms. We got Dolphin behind the scenes as always. How you doing tonight, Jarrett?
Pretty good. Ready for this match. It's going to be a pretty important one to decide the fate of these teams for their playoff race. We have Rebirth eSport and MyAnimeList After Dark. Both teams trying their best to make sure they solidify their spot, but not everything is necessarily set in stone yet. So a win will set one of these teams skyrocketing up in the standings, and a defeat will put them on the cusp of not necessarily making it at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely a good one coming up here. Rebirth is at 6-3 right now. Mal is 7-4. So middle of the pack matchup for the night, which should be a good one. Previous matchup was a roll for Rebirth, taking it 5-0 on process, I believe, but definitely as the seasons developed, I don't think we can just count out Mala at this point.
Teams can change over the course of time. You get better over, practicing weeks after weeks after weeks of all the scrims that you play as a team, and a new map definitely comes into play. Last time these teams faced off, it was Process, which is a very wide open map, pretty friendly to scouts. But now we're on to Gullywash, which is not necessarily the same story. So it should be interesting to see how the dynamics change and how different carry players come out to lead their teams to victory.
Yeah, and speaking of players, let's run down the rosters real quick. I'll take Rebirth and have you do Mal. For Rebirth, we will have Yosh on Flank Scout, Shamu on Pocket Scout, Mirrorman is the Roamer, Crypt on Pocket Soldier, Genie from Spy Kids, formerly known as Dingo, is the Demo Man, and Virgil on Medic.
One thing to note, I think at this point, Mirrorman and Crypt have been swapped long enough for Mirrorman to be considered the pocket, but I mean, really, realistically, their soldier roles are pretty interchangeable because these teams, they play pretty loose as soldiers, I would say. But on to MyAnimeList After Dark, we have Alpha and Kev on Scout, Trip on Roamer, Glimmer aka Savrix on Soldier, Psy on Demo, and Azen on Medic.
Definitely two solid rosters, and they've both been performing pretty well this season. I think Invite's been definitely more balanced than in the past, especially since we have so many teams. What are you going to be looking at, excuse me, for matchups this evening?
Well, I mean, they've been pretty competitive, so it can be kind of difficult to say what's going to happen and who you should be really looking at realistically, especially because while they've had some ups, they've definitely had their downs. Both teams have shown some promise in the past versus their competitors and their neighboring teams in the standings, but also faltered a little bit when it came to making sure they locked out really convincing wins against teams you'd expect them to normally beat. So realistically, despite the previous matchup being a 5-0 in favor of Rebirth, there's no really telling what's going to happen for sure. In terms of them actually playing Gullywash, I'd probably be looking at the Demoman matchup, which is a very important matchup in general when it comes to Gullywash. But between these two teams in particular, you have two very stark playstyle differences in terms of what Dingo and Psy will be doing. You have Dingo, who will make sure to participate in pretty much every fight, but sometimes will give his life for it. And on the other hand, you have Psy, who will make sure he does whatever he can to not die, but might accidentally miss a fight or two. So also, there'll be some other things that factor in, obviously, whether or not fights are won or lost for either team, but that's going to be the thing that I'm going to keep my eye on when it comes to what is going to make or break a fight for a team.
Fantastic. I will personally be watching the roamers, be it Mirrorman or Shamu. I guess I'm mostly watching Mirrorman. Mirrorman's been doing a lot of work, especially against hard matchups like CGI and Froyo. Sorry, Global Clan Ice, GCI, not CGI. And he's been doing very well. And going up against Trip on Roamer, definitely a top level roamer. So a matchup that I'll be keeping a close eye on, seeing which soldiers can really make an impact tonight.
Yep, soldiers are definitely going to play a big role. It's mostly just going to be the scouts that are kind of getting the short end of the stick. Like, obviously, they're in the server and playing, but it's definitely not the same level of dominance you'd see in the previous matchup between these teams on process, like we glossed over earlier. It's definitely going to be the projectile show, so we'll see who comes out on top at the end of the day. One thing to kind of keep in mind, I would guess, is like we said previously, over time things can change as well. So while you know last time we saw a little bit of back and forth, but ultimately Rebirth taking the win at the end of the day with a solid 5 rounds. I think it's important to recognize because the map plays differently, it might be a little bit of a different story when it comes to some of the transitions we might see. Personally, I'm kind of making the prediction of actually, I don't even know what I want to make the prediction in terms of scoreline. All I know is I think the way that Mal makes sure that what happens last time doesn't repeat is definitely having really dominant mids. One, because it can definitely set the pace for the entire game, but two, I feel like their strong suit for this match is going to be trying to keep Rebirth on last. I feel like that's a Rebirth's maybe their weak point for this match potentially is making sure they're consistently getting out of last like really safely and not accidentally losing it. But then again, for the side of Rebirth, you're playing versus a team who historically their players haven't been necessarily the best at making sure they keep their leads very, very solid on Gully Wash. Going back multiple seasons and multiple years, I know teams different a little. Teams can differ over time a little bit, and players can improve. But historically, the versions of Mal that have existed in the past have not had crazy luck when it comes to Gully Wash dominance. Although obviously that can change this season, but it is yet to be seen, and I'm sure they're doing the best they can to make sure they can prove that tonight.
Yeah, speaking of the map, I don't believe Rebirth has played a map or a match on Gully Wash this season, though Mal has had a couple of games on it, so that might play a role in things tonight. Maybe not a map that Rebirth has had too much practice on, and uh, being their first match of the season on it, halfway, even more than halfway through the season, definitely going to be something to look out for. Is this a match or a map, excuse me, that they avoid in playoffs? Is it something that they're going to realize that it's, their strong suit magically and keep playing it? It's something that I'm going to be following throughout the rest of the season.
It's a good point. I mean, on the one hand, you have the fact that Mal has practiced Gully Wash a bit more than RBE, if RBE has at all realistically, versus maybe a spare team or two that has had a Gully Wash match. They've had the ability to scrim. So you have that practice aspect going in the favor of Mal, but you also have the fact that because Mal has played matches on this during the season already for Gully Wash, the things they like to do is kind of already out in the open. So Rebirth might have had a chance to kind of see like, oh, they really like doing mids like this, and that can give you a little bit of a refresher and an expectation on what a team might do for their mid fights or certain plays they might do just because it's already been kind of public. So they might be able to use that to their advantage for the very beginning of the first half to try to set things in their favor right off the bat.
Yeah, definitely. And thinking about the medic matchup, Virgil definitely the less experienced med, but has been playing very well this season. Do you think there's going to be any notable difference between how these medics perform?
Uh, Maybe a small amount when it comes to like really small mechanical things, but I don't think there's going to be too much of a difference that's going to like make or break the match unless one of them just isn't showing up tonight and is not playing well. I don't think like obviously playing good is a good thing, but I don't think fantastic medic performance is going to be the thing that sails one of these teams to victory. If anything, it would be one of the medics just not necessarily hitting the mark tonight that would be a team's downfall, because obviously that's kind of how it is on any map. If your medic's not playing well, you kind of lose. So we'll have to see how they start off in the very beginning. I think after talking about this for so long, I think I'm able to comfortably like throw out a prediction of I think that Rebirth is probably still the favorites if you had to pick one, but it's not necessarily as set in stone. I kind of agree with chat that they're going to get a little bit of a head start, but Mal's not going to be too far behind. So something along the 4-2 mark sits fine with me, or 5-2 if you don't think it's going to stalemate out or anything like that. We know that previous games, Rebirth has been pretty much okay with not playing at an extremely fast pace. So if Mal does anything similar, we might see a little bit of a slow-paced game right off the bat. But it should be interesting to see what happens because we are going live into the first half. Who is going to start off the mid-right for their team and make sure the pace of the match goes in their favor? Godfather, go ahead and take it away.
Will do, and I agree with your prediction. I'm thinking somewhere around a 5-2 in favor of Rebirth, but getting on to this first mid here, we're going to see Alpha taking a little bit of space, but he needs to back up. Here comes Mirrorman getting a little bit of spam onto the bed. Trip's going to be the first death, though. He gets taken out, and so does Alpha. Virgil's going to go down, though! That's massive! A huge find there from the side of Mal. 4 down for Rebirth. Crypt is likely going to fall here as well. Going to get chased down by Psy on the flank, and or a Glimmer it turns out, and that will be a dominant mid-fight win by the side of MyAnimeList.
Yeah, RBE won the flank, but they lost the combo. So since you don't have a medic, Aizen just plays safe and makes sure he buffs up his players. And all of a sudden, they have this giant advantage in the middle of the mid fight they weren't going to have at the very beginning. So Aizen, full Uber ad. RBE has to sit on last, build up their defense the best they can, have a gun going up, and that will be it. No pyro, nothing too fancy. We have Junie from Spy Kids, aka Dingo, sticking in water, which is what he usually likes to do. So we'll have to see if the blue team is going to be able to combat that anyway, make sure they get this Uber.
And here does come the Uber. It's going to be onto Kev mainly. The gun's going to go down early. It's on that left side. Yosh is going to just get demolished by Sai. Pressure onto point early. Dingo's doing his best to trap it off, but not finding a lot. As 2 down now for the side of Rebirth. As Shamu dies to Kev. Not a lot of pressure coming in onto point. Glimmer is going to go down. Now there's point pressure as Alpha also going down, but no one's able to touch, and that's just going to be a round win for Mal.
And no turn dives and a scout down early does not sit well for them, and their first last hold does not give them the results they need. But we'll have to see if the mid will be turned around and RBE will be able to take it back, or if Aizen and friends will continue their dominance and take the second mid as well.
And coming in onto the second mid, we're going to have a bit of the same as last time, maybe a rotation coming around. We're going to see both teams fighting up by point. Mirrorman is behind. Here comes Crypt. He's going to just get demolished. But there goes the med! Taken out by Mirrorman, who finds 2, getting Sai as well. That's going to be gigantic. Kev is going to die as well. But Virgil dies on the other side. God. How do you let Virgil die? That's going to be... that ruins some momentum here. And
Alpha?
Now Junie from Sky Kids is also going to go down. It's just Alpha v Yosh. Heals are in favor of Yosh right now, and he will find the kill. A very messy mid-fight all around there.
That was almost a reverse of the last mid where they gave up their flank but took the combo, but Alpha salvaged at the last second, did what the previous RBE combo or flank could not do. So now Yosh capping this up, gonna go ahead and back up a little bit, make sure his team is there, using the fact that Alpha is not there to go ahead and start this dry fight, trying to get a pick onto Sapphire's, but will not succeed. They're gonna be able to get Trip instead though, so that is a soldier down, if not the original one in Glimmer. Sapphire's is stuck underneath the last man on mid. Will they be able to find him? They will. Crypt is able to go underneath and get him very swiftly. So with no soldiers, RBE has to buff up and get ready to try to poke around off this pick advantage that they have to use now.
Right, and they're going to come in onto second here. Going to eat a lot of spam. Virgil getting down to half right now, and Yosh is also weak. Cap's going to come in. Yosh is going to die to Alpha, though. Mirrorman behind right now. And Kev might want to come back in here. It looks like they're going to exchange a little bit of spam. Cap's going to come through, and if Aizen gets caught out here, that's going to be really bad for Mal.
Alpha being the playmaker so far, off to see if we'll keep up the pace. We're only 4 minutes in, and so far he's done 2 very nice things for his team. That pick is a very good thing to make sure that RB doesn't snowball it all the way into lobby or try to, use any pick advantage to go into last right off the bat. So good job on him. But we have the first stalemate of the game coming up. Both teams have Uber. We have Yosh on Sniper already in basement, but the pre-fire pyro is already a thing. I don't even think they know that he's on Sniper yet. They kind of just assume that he's on Sniper because it's Yosh. He's going to peek now, take his first shot. They definitely know he's on Sniper now, taking that damage, but not necessarily dying yet. So we'll have to see what Mal does in response. They know the Sniper exists. They can't just let him take shots forever. The question is how will they respond?
Mirrorman's going to go down to Trip there. Yosh taking a shot, but he is hit by a flare, so he'll have to back off here. And yeah, stalemate situation. I'm not sure if I like the Yosh going on to Sniper. Let's see if he can make something happen with it. But we'll see a fairly standard setup here with Pyro and Engineer on the left side from the defending point of view. Yosh is going to eat another flare before getting backed off again by Trip. What do you want to see to break this stalemate?
I definitely want to see not one soldier dying after another, which is going to be very unfortunate, and the flare damage, the scorch shot is very powerful and cleans up Yosh. So that is the first 2-man, even though if it wasn't necessarily the thing they planned. Sai going for SWAT. Sai, what are you doing? What are you doing, Sai? You are very greedy right now. He's not going to get punished, though. Not enough players on the board. Trip trying to bomb in and get it onto a scout and get some decent damage onto him, but getting cleaned up by Junior from Spy Kids, aka Dingo. So no soldiers. A very big hole in the defense. Mirror going in and going to be able to force Uber, trying to peek around the corner. Thought there was going to be a combo there, but it's just Mirror Man. Successful force and a little bit of a misplay coming from the blue team. I'm pretty sure they assumed an Uber exchange was going to come in, so they just took the initiative, blind around the corner, try to take the exchange, but there's no red medic to be seen. Virgil still has her Uber, only Mirror Man down. Probably gonna wait for Mirror Man to spawn and get ready to buff up and burst through the door of their choosing.
Yeah, that was a fantastic fake out there. Here comes the Uber from the side of Red Team. Alpha's going to be doing a great job stuffing it so far. Gun's only at half health. It's going to get healed up. Crypt coming in now. He's going to find Kev and the gun, but Yosh is going to trade out on the other side, and Shamu goes down as well. Now Crypt falling as well. Heavy is up. It's Alpha on that left side, and that's going to be a failed last push as the side of Rebirth is going to back out.
Another Alpha play, just on Pyro air blasting. If that gun dies much earlier, Rebirth gets tons more space to be able to actually hold on to last, but now they're down 3 players versus 5, and they can't really hold too feasibly with that, especially because Aizen is at 92%. Not too much longer until he has his Uber, and they have to make sure they prepare the best they can to make sure that no one dies, and they get this force as the blue team comes in mid. Yosh is on Sniper, so that is something that has to be played into account, but it is going to be dropped down. The blue team goes through, trying to work their way in as best they can, but the Uber will get popped out. Side jumping in really deep, able to get one, but is he going to die for it? He probably will get a second one, though. That is a very nice trade, 2 for 1, even if it is your demo man. The red Uber comes out on Aizen, trying to do the best he can to make sure that cleans up this kill. Crypt going to bomb in and try to get the frag, and he will collect Aizen at the very end of the day. Probably will give his life for it. Actually, no, not even. Will barely escape away. Will get cleaned up by Trip. Kev trying to go into Virgil. Virgil's very weak, and Virgil will eventually die. Getting 2. Maybe we'll die to Mirror Man here, a little bit of a soldier duel, but ultimately not enough to hold on to the mid. It was okay at the very beginning in terms of re-pushing right off the bat of that really nice Psy Bomb, but at the end of the day, it was not enough. They lose their medic, and now they are losing mid and maybe even 2.
That bomb coming in from Glimmer to clean up the kill onto Virgil was massive, and definitely a great heads-up play there. We're going to see Blue walking in here a bit. Crypt is going to get taken out by Alpha, and now Trip taking the high ground, and Virgil's going to be out to last here, building up as fast as they can. It's about a 10% disadder for the side of Rebirth, and have Yosh up on the Engineer. We're going to see a bit of stabilization here from Mal as both teams work up to an Uber.
Yeah, last hold that Rebirth eSports was in with Disad, it didn't bode too well for them, but their Disad is very much more smaller than the last time, only like 10 or 15%, so if the blue team pushes this, it might be a little bit rough for them. They're going to decide to go in, trying to go on to Crypt. He will jump into River and make sure he's okay. It seems like the red Uber is going to come into play pretty soon, 95%. Alpha trying to get on point, but add a little bit of extra cap time. Dingo is on it, trying to do the best they can to make sure this cap goes off. Trip will die, and only 2 people left alive. That was almost disastrous. That, I really do not think that should have been as close as it was. But at the end of the day, Rebirth hold on to last. Only 2 people left alive, as said before. Will work their way back out to mid, give up 2, as it should be expected, as so many people are dead on your team. And it looks like this might be another sort of stalemate, unless we see some sort of dry push actually come in from the missing blue players. I forgot. They're respawning, trying to work their way through the choke. Shamu will die immediately. No initiation coming from Soldiers quite yet. Just going to be a scout death on the side of the red team.
Yeah, I'm not sure I like that play from Shamu. He kind of just walked in. Kev is very low right now. He's going to get healed up by his med. And Umer's building. Virgil's just got a 5% ad, very small, as Red's looking to hold here. And it's going to be an interesting little stalemate we have. Both meds looking to work up to Uber. How do you want to see Mal come in here?
I think Mal thinks they have ad because they Ubered first, but realistically they don't. So it's going to be kind of curious to see if they notice that, if they actually don't. That's why Virgil went all the way up in uppers, because she knew that she should have disad even though she didn't, but too small to use, especially for second. So gonna be a stalemate. Probably gonna see either choke or big door worked in. Seems like it's gonna be choke for now. Trip trying to bomb into great space, trying to get onto Virgil. So Virgil will surf back, losing 2, maybe even 3. Glimmer 11 HP down, dropped. I'm gonna get chased down by a scout. Well, they notice it. He's trying to go for the kill, but an arrow will hit its mark, and ultimately it just be a distraction for the soldier bombing through, drop down as well. Force will happen, but how many players will you lose? You've lost 2, 1 behind. Gotta make sure the Crypt does not die, because 3 manning for a force is not good, but he will get out in big door. 2 for a force. It's not amazing, but it's still pretty all right. You have your Uber, but it's gonna be really rough to use it. You have to make sure you get your players up, because if you push right now, there will be a giant hole in the map that the 6 players on Mal could definitely use. Yeah, they do have a sniper. They're going to go that route in terms of getting the force. He's posted up in big door, trying to look and make sure he's ready for anyone that comes through. Choke hiding the dot, at least for now. So we'll have to see what door that they choose to go through, but it looks like it's going to be big door this time, so the sniper won't really won't be a factor till later on.
Yeah, and here comes the Uber immediately from Rebirth. I think they might know about the sniper based on that early use. Glimmer's going to be the first death here on this Uber. Not a lot else able to be found, though, by Rebirth, as they're going to just use to cap mid. Trip looking, and here comes the counter Uber. Zai's just going to bomb right in here. Kev is very low. Trip is actually going to die, though, to Mirror, as 2 down for Blue. They're going to maybe get a little bit of cap time here. Crypt wants to go in. Mirrorman is going to die to Alpha, though. before he can get there in time. So the Uber comes back in from Mal, but not finding a lot of kills or the cap. We've got a bit of a post fight going on here though, as looks like Mal doesn't want to give up too much space. They're now going to back out through Shutter. And we're going to see maybe the opportunity for Rebirth to come in here.
Yeah, they used the Uber first, and it was a decent ad they used, so they're gonna have something to work with. That's why Azen is up here playing as safe as possible in case they do like a 15% ad Uber, but I'd be kind of surprised if they commit super hard. They are gonna start poking Big Door, at least a small amount probably, but who knows if they'll actually be committing thing. No, it looks like they're going to change their mind. They forgot the sniper still exists, and he's looking straight at Big Door. So Choke will be the play, trying to make sure that things are a little bit cleared and you have some space. Meanwhile, the blue team will drop off their high ground, at least somewhat, to get back into the normal position of holding Choke. So Rebirth, you're in a decent position where you own mid, but you have to fight against this sniper, doing the best you can to make sure you can get in it without getting completely owned by a headshot or anything. I feel like upper would probably be the play, as we see Yosh going behind, ready to do just that, get some sort of counterplay, and Chafrix will get up on the high ground as well as Trip to make sure that he's not able to do too much while he's there. It seems like this is where things are going to start to slow down a little bit in terms of what we talked about earlier, Godfather.
Yeah, definitely a stalemate situation here. I'm not sure what Yosh is going to try to be doing. He definitely is spotted by a Trip in River, and will have to be careful of that. Mirrorman's looking to exchange a little bit of spam, but not a lot happening here, as both teams are just stabilizing. Kev really needs to find a shot here to open things up for Mal, and it looks like we might have a big door push coming in soon.
Yeah, both teams testing their patience. If you pull the trigger, it's a very obvious execution, and everyone's ready for it in time, but at least for now, things have kind of slowed down. Not really sure when exactly RVE will pull the trigger, but that just might mean you have the surprise factor in your favor. Burning a little bit of the clock is what we talked about, that they are totally fine doing, and we are definitely seeing that right now. Yosh biding his time in lobby, and blue team playing defensive sniper up all the way on top of the high ground with him as well in some instances, so gonna have to see who takes the first shot. Either it's gonna be Kev taking an actual sniper shot, or Yosh running in, and as soon as you see that, he's going for the point.
Right
he's bided his time, but not able to find the mark. Azen only missing 50 HP, and will be A-okay. The question is, what will be the counter sack, if any, on the side of the blue team? It looks like they're gonna wide swing their sniper through Big Door.
Yeah, we're gonna hope he finds a pick here to open things up for Mal, but he's gonna have to back off. Crit is spamming him out a little bit. Shot gets fired, but not connecting. And Virtual still sitting in choke here with Mirrorman. Yeah, not a lot else happening. The sniper has rotated around, but he's getting spammed out a little bit. We'll find a buff once again. Very slow and steady here. Neither team really wants to make a mistake.
And this is the rough thing about defensive sniper. If your sniper isn't able to wide swing at all, and even if he does, you really only get one shot, and then that's about it. So the effectiveness isn't really that great for counter sacks and the like, but he definitely has Big Door on lockdown, which is going to make things a little bit rougher for them to, for example, rotate their whole combo over to shove heals through it or whatever. But we do have Yosh on counter sniper. They're going to remedy their solution in a different manner. Have to make sure Virgil's over there first. For Mir, dying over in choke, probably went for the ammo pack, was a little bit too greedy, got caught out. So that will be their quote-unquote sack, even though it wasn't intended. So blue team has another chance to go ahead and start peeking some doors, but now they have a sniper of their own to worry about. Trip tried to peek and try to go for a counter in Big Door, it looks like, but immediately got domed in some capacity, and that will be it. Kev on 6 HP, and it seems they're going to be a trade, and Glimmer actually successfully getting the dome in Junie from Spy Kids, so no demo on the side of the red team is an opening. Trip going through drop down, noticing that he can be able to try to bomb his way through while his team potentially makes space. He's going in, but there's no distraction. His team's not with him, but he... imagine.
Yosh.
Imagine if his team's with him there, Choke. That could have been a very easy force. A little bit of a misplay overall as a team not being on the same page. And Rebirth has the space they need to be able to get Crip behind. And Mirrorman, the Uber change coming out.
Yeah, Uber's going to come in right onto second here. Not finding a lot of kills in it. There goes Crip trading out for Alpha, though, so not a lot. Oh, but massive meat shot. Or, sorry, not meat shot. Headshot from Yosh. Finding the med will open things up for this last push. Cap is going to come in onto second. It's only 3 alive, now 4 as Spawner comes in. So Rebirth has an opportunity to just kind of bot in here. It looks like Shamu's going to get very greedy. Just looking through under, trying to find a headshot. We got the heavy up. It is Alpha as usual. No other off classes though.
Yep, the war of attrition paid off in their favor, able to successfully get those kills and make sure they maintain control of the opposing teams too, and take lobby. But the question is when they are in the driver's seat and have the definitive advantage, Will they be able to convert their first round? Got a little bit of a setup with the pyro that plagued them so much last time and a gun, but not necessarily in the same spot. Uber
Here
coming out,
comes
the
Uber,
gun,
it's gonna be right onto the gun.
Aizen's dead already. That's a very quick medic kill, and Cap Time immediately going out, sort of trying to bomb it and make sure that it's defended the best they can. Pyro going out onto the field, making sure that it's defended as well. But a lot of deaths on the side of Rebirth. Things are a little bit scrappy. And it seems like they're holding off for now. Yosh is still in River, biding his time, and just that shot on a trip immediately denied. So it's nice to get the early medic kill, but not really necessarily what you're wanting to get out of a last push on the side of Rebirth.
Yeah, Rebirth did lose Virgil there, so even Uber's coming up. Pistol battle happening on second, but Alpha's gonna win that pretty cleanly. And pressure now a little bit from Big Door. Mirrorman will get taken out. Here comes Shamu. He's just gonna die as well. Crip, bit of a sack wave there. Aizen getting down to about 70 health. They're not finding the kill. So now Mal has the opportunity. They're just going to kind of jump right in here. They're going to find Junie and take him out. Are they chasing? No, Virgil will live. Get out here as Cap comes through on midpoint.
A valiant effort, but their fight on 2 was just completely staggered, one after one after one, and they weren't even able to successfully clean up any of the kills. So now the blue team in the driver's seat. Not only have they taken mid pretty much for free, but they're going to take 2 for free as well. Mirrorman going down very late. There's going to be one person dead on the side of the red team, not able to be in a good position to defend. And with Aizen at 90%, it shouldn't be too much longer until they pick a door and get ready to pop in. They're in lobby, so it's probably looking to be begins to walk through, busting up a little bit in the air, but the Uber will finally come out on the side of the red team, trying to chase the best they can into lobby, trying to get anything. Glimmer will get very, very low, 5 HP, is getting cleaned up by Shamu. Have a little bit of fight from the side of Alpha, and Mirrorman and Alpha cleaning up too. He's on last.
Alpha's gonna cap!
He literally just took a 1v2. He taunts, he's caught it, and he gets that round for Mal.
Absolutely disgusting there, getting that cap. As you said, taking the 1v2. You know, showing a bit of dominance here as we see Mal going up 2-0. Not what we expected. We're going to come in onto this third mid and see what we get. And it's going to be a big door rollout for both teams. Trip is just going to jump right into Junie. They're going to find that demo kill early. Here comes a double bomb trying to come into Aizen, and they do find Aizen to die. No, but Virgil dies on the other side of things as Glimmer finds that kill. Med's just not staying alive right now. 3 alive for the side of Mal, 2 alive for Rebirth. Tripboy is low, Sai as well. There goes Glimmer. He's going to get taken out by Yosh. No one is healthy right now. Spawners are now just going to come in. No one's gotten any cap time in. It looks like if I had to give say anything, I'd say Mal wins this mid, but very,
it's mid 5v2. It is mid 5v2. Although Rebirth, because they died so early, they have the respawn advantage to actually get some good positioning and actually get on the point. So blue team locked out. That should have been a 1 mid fight for blue. Yeah, they died much later, but at the end of the day, the respawn advantage just comes in the favor of red team. So good job on them making sure that they can salvage the best they can and make sure that blue can't get that cap off, and they will solidify the mid. I'm not really sure if I don't remember if this ad is real or if it's just artificial and Aizen wasn't healing properly. So I'm not exactly sure if we're gonna see them actually. Yeah, I don't think it actually like exists in their head and they're actually gonna do anything off it. They're just gonna go ahead and build up their Uber. Gonna see the second stalemate of the mid and 2 in Gully Wash. RBE still in the driver's seat. No sniper this time, so might be a little bit different in terms of how they decide to break it.
Yeah, I'd expect a little bit more aggression now that you don't have that sniper pick. Kind of slows you down. Sai exchanging a lot of spam right now, but not finding any kills. Mirrorman now behind. He's going to get spammed out a little bit by Sai, who peeled off to find him. And now we're seeing a little bit of aggression from the side of Mal. Yeah, Alpha is going to look behind and probably find Mirrorman. He is getting very low. A lot of aggression from Rebirth in their positioning. They do find Alpha. That's Yosh finding the... Oh, and yeah, the Force comes in onto Aizen. I think that was Crypt. He will die for it. Now Yosh is behind. They're trying to find Aizen on point. Not getting a lot of damage. Mirrorman and Yosh both behind right now. Oh, God! The air shot from Mirrorman and finding the meta kill afterwards. Red does pop Uber. Don't know if that was a Force or just using in, but a great play there by Mirrorman.
The MGE battle, he's got Yosh really low, but it is Doman after all. Oh, he hits that. Red team has to back up.
Yeah, this is going to be Crypt trying to clean up this kill onto Sai, but instead Shamu's going to find it, and as you said, Red does have to back up. a valiant sack there from Sai, but now 15 seconds before he respawns. About a 25% ad for Rebirth, but nowhere near Uber. Virgil dies to Glimmer, though, finding a few
and he
rockets
got out.
on
He
the flank.
surfed the stickies out. Virgil just got left out to die. Scout ran in, Dingo wasn't able to do anything, and at the end of the day, that is going to be a dead medic. That was a very all-in play for a team that didn't really go all in. So unfortunate on their end. We have their blue team pushing through upper, trying to muscle out the red team while their medic is nowhere near. They are kind of working their way towards choke, though, to maybe do some sort of play before Aizen gets his Uber. He is at 80%, and they are going to bust the soldiers through, trying to bomb in, able to clean up Alpha and Glimmer, so going to be down some people on the side of the blue team. And a nice shot from Yosh! Yosh on Sniper.
Kill. I didn't see him come up on Sniper, but finding a nasty headshot. And
Sai's gonna die too.
Sai dies here late. That's gonna really solidify the advantage here for Rebirth. Coming in onto Trip. Oh, Trip actually gets a kill, but nobody on point quite yet. Shamu's gonna just find the cap, and Rebirth taking their first round of the night after, a bit of a turnaround for them.
It was a little bit slow, but a round is a round, and I'm sure they're looking to repeat that and make sure that they win a mid convincingly. So far, their mid takes have been kind of a bit slow pace and a little on mouths and mistakes. So we'll have to see if they're going to be able to put themselves in the driver's seat and have this spam Rains Beam getting Alpha really early, but Crypt is going to be weak as well and isn't necessarily going to be able to commit too much more. Trip down as well. Good play from Yosh, and Sai is left out to dry. Miran trying to go up, drop down to go for a play, but is not going to find too much distance, but is going to live with 3 HP. Oh no, chased down by Glimmer. Glimmer going up back, drop down, getting the scout as well. What a play. Chases and goes back up and collects the scout. And Saphix is going huge. He chases the scout down, drop down. He goes back up, drop down, gets another kill, goes back down and pops up, down, up, down. They don't know where he is. So at the end of the day, very good play from him. And that 3K will solidify them retaking mid right after Rebirth got it.
Yeah, Glimmer huge there, being everywhere at once, and nobody from Rebirth was able to track him down and find him. We're going to come in onto second here. It looks like Rebirth is knowing they're at a full disad here. A little bit of spam from Mirrorman. He's not backing up quite yet. He'll take some high ground here as Glimmer comes in through choke. No sniper to contest with. We have the engineer on defense setting up a blast. Oh, Mirrorman is going to find the force onto Aizen, and that will set up a Rebirth ad.
Oh, he's going to get out. Just barely. Just barely.
We have the gun up on this last hold here. Do you think Rebirth is going to be pushing out here, or are they just going to hold on?
They'll definitely try to push out. The question is how successful will they be? You talked about before, this is the thing that I'm worried about when it comes to them being successful here. And we have a play immediately right off the bat from the blue team trying to make some space and get this force. They will succeed in that regard, but how many will they drop for? They've collected 2 soldiers, but they've lost 3. So ultimately not the best, but okay. It's going to take a bit for the red team to actually push out. Going to be down to people that aren't quite in position yet. And the blue team still has
they
some
just want to
footing.
take this.
Yeah, they have some footing. There's definitely still in it and putting themselves out here. Sai's working his way towards the high ground. They're trying to pressure him out before the blue team gets here. They know they need to do the best they can. Sai's just in. He's going to die. But Alpha going in from Big Door. It's not covered. Virgil's really, really weak and will ultimately die. They didn't watch Big Door. He then makes another play on the opposite end. Crypt trying to go into mid and go for a play himself is not going to find too much success. So with Virgil dead, it'll give Aizen some reason to start poking around, not necessarily wanting to use his Uber, but definitely wanting to use the heals of his players to make sure they can get some footing on 2 before they're able to set up too deep.
Yeah, full ad now for the side of MyAnimeList, and they're going to just get a uncontested second cap. We got the gun coming up for the side of Rebirth. It is Yosh swapping onto NG as always, and we have Shamu on Pyro, so, another standard hold coming in. We're going to see how Mal wants to push this. Medic now just going through Shutter. It looks like they're going to take a river push, if I had to guess. Gun is going to just get taken out early there.
Solo soldier. Dang.
Yeah. And now Blue is setting up here. Crypt is taking some high ground, but the Uber does come in. It's going to be trapping off spawn. Oh, nope. Yeah, here comes Mirrorman jumping in, trying to get onto Trip, able to find a rocket, but not getting a lot. Mirrorman and Shamu both taken out. Kev does trade out, finding a pipe from Dingo. Too weak for Blue, but Red is just going to lose 4, and Virgil's the only one alive, and the cap just comes in. 3-1 for the side of MyAnimeList. That'll be the half.
Pyro at the wrong door. Hedgel, your bets on River turns out to be Shutter, not really able to do a whole lot. Definitely some other issues when it comes to the last, but it seems that it's reigning true that Rebirth, they're struggling on last, whether it be pushing out or holding it. And now we should go to the stats. Please show me Alpha stats. Alpha is definitely doing a very, very good job for a scout on Gully Wash. We also have a Glimmer, aka Saffrix, doing a whole lot. We saw plenty of plays from him. I'm going to be honest, I did not expect him to be the giant playmaker for this team, especially because it's not necessarily his main. He plays demo, but he's playing soldier right now. But he is definitely doing a whole lot for the side of Mal.
Yeah, Glimmer going big, but Mirrorman is following up on that damage on the other side of things, leading the team with 282. Not the best performance I've seen from Mirrorman. He's dying out a little bit too often and kind of at bad times, but finding a few important plays here and there. And Virgil dying 9 times to Aizen's 7. You know, pretty even for medic deaths considering a 3-1.
Yeah, Yoshi's doing a good job too. Honestly, these stats look pretty. They're not too far apart realistically. I think the big thing that at the end of the day comes down to who's winning the mids to set things in your favor when these fights go back and forth. Because these stats, realistically, they just show how close-ish it was in terms of trading kills, how close-ish fights were, and how you go back and forth between multiple points. But it makes a big difference on what points you start that back and forth on. Because if you're on last and you gotta go back, there is no back. You just lose, and that's where the rounds actually happen. So at the end of the day, my takeaway from this, from the stats being so close, is it's probably not necessarily like an individual player that needs to step up, although everyone needs to, definitely play the best they can. But it definitely comes down to the mids. If you do not win mid and you start on your end of the map, when this back and forth starts to happen and you need to go backwards, you're going to end up on last or maybe even losing your last, which is, kind of where Rebirth is sitting right now. Every time they've hit them and found themselves on last, things have not necessarily gone in their favor. So I'm sure that Mal is definitely happy to be finding those scenarios. I definitely would say if Rebirth wants to turn things around, it's definitely in the mid fights, which I think can definitely happen. It's, mid fights for Gully Wash aren't too crazy in terms of trying to find a way to adapt to what the other team is doing. The question is, as always, is the options that you have aren't necessarily streamlined. So the teams individually have a little bit of options when it comes to how they want to alter their play specifically.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Looking just at the frags we mentioned earlier, these the logs look fairly even for a 3-1. Only a 10 frag difference in favor of Mal here, and 3 mid fights going in favor of Rebirth. This really could be going the other way right now, and I think that's what we both were kind of expecting, but I'm not all too surprised to see Mal playing very well here tonight.
Yeah, I think the only thing you could point out that's different, seriously, that you could maybe, say, hey, change this, is the heal spread right now. So far, Rebirth is top healing a scout on Gully Wash, which can work, but I mean, it's scout on Gully Wash, and it's not working right now. So if the stats said anything, you could maybe change that. I think the projectile classes are pretty strong on this map, so you could maybe do something there to try to put some extra spam on the Mal when they're trying to walk through doorways or something like that. But at the end of the day, that's not the sole issue and why things are going wrong. That's ultimately a couple things compounded together, and it's up to them to figure out what are the biggest things that they need to adjust with the small amount of time they have.
I'd say one thing I'd like to see Rebirth adjust here is playing a bit more around their demo and not letting Dingo, or I guess Dingo not dying. I don't know if it's better to say not letting Dingo die versus Dingo not dying here. But, if Rebirth is able to play around their demo and he picks up on the damage, only 200 damage in this first half from Dingo. Not the best I've seen him play. I'd like to see him really pick it up and Rebirth go around that. And
2 weak soldiers on the side of the blue team. They're able to get Shamu right off the bat, but not too much after that. A little bit of a slower pace mid off the bat, but Aizen very, very low, gonna fall down, but Yoshi's gonna chase him down and be able to collect that kill. So able to get the medic at the end of the day, but have to lose a lot of players in regard to their resources to be able to get that. Mirror getting Saga at the very last second of the mid fight. So no demo will be there quite in time if they want to poke around, but they got to make sure they get their players in time to make sure that things don't go too south. They got 3 players right now at choke, getting ready to poke, and try not to use the Uber, at least for how much is set up on mid. It's pretty much just Trip at this point. The rest of the team is trying to funnel away through choke. We have Glimmer actually hiding in a corner, didn't even notice that. The question is, will it be successful? Trying to bail him in onto the demo, but a trap. Good job from Dingo, immediately collecting that kill, and Trip gonna realize how south things went and gonna be able to get out successfully through big door. So one pick, Uberad still in the favor of Rebirth, trying to work their way through choke, and the question is, how successful will this second push be?
Yeah, and we're gonna see Trip jumping in early. Virgil's alone, hitting one, can he get the other shot? No, but the force does come through as the wall shot would have likely finished off Virgil, so no Uber ad to work in onto last here for Rebirth, as Mal's gonna get set up here, 86% right now. No off classes quite yet. We might see Trip switch off, but that might be a sign that Mal is just thinking about pushing right back out with a 75% ad.
Yep, definitely something that's pretty likely. Got people taking lobby and the rest of the team working their way through River. No Soldier necessarily with the combo quite yet, but I'm sure that'll change eventually. Glimmer working his way up. Some weak players on the side of the blue team upper. Good damage from Mirror Man's going to slow them down a little bit to make sure that Virgil can at least get somewhat of an Uber to maybe come back in after they decide to pop through. We have both scouts up right now trying to make some space as they work their way onto the top of the point. Mirror Man coming from Big Door though, trying to work his way on A's and going to fall down. One rocket, but not quite more than that. A little bit of a Soldier duel in the river right now. Trip's going to be able to clean up Mirror Man, so one soldier down. It's pretty much a sack at this point, but it seems like they're going to try to work their way through choke. Uber coming in onto the red demo, immediately pop out, but Virgil fell down. Virgil fell down. These are kills that could happen. Good. Oh, actually, not a whole lot of good damage. I think Glimmer missed his rocket, so a little bit of a 5v5 right now, spamming through the choke. I don't think either team is going to want to commit too hard. Things are going to start to slow down. The question is will both teams be complacent, just be okay with it, build the Uber, will they try to do anything cheeky and do for some sort of dry push as soon as they get their players?
You know, I'd like to see a dry push here from Rebirth. You know, try to pick up the aggression. You've mentioned they like to play slow, but just, you know, maybe brute forcing it is an option here. Virgil very lucky to not drop players when she dropped down there. A bit of a misplay, but can't fault her too much. It is you know, chaotic time. We're gonna see things stabilize here though. Another stalemate, the third of the night, and yeah, even Ubers.
Yeah, definitely kind of expected this, especially because it's these two teams on this map. You're going to be seeing a little bit of a slower paced game, especially because things are very, very important when it comes to the results. Mirrorman going to try to make some space, not able to quite hit the mark. Going to die to a trap. Trip immediately taking damage, is not able to counter sack, but it's going to be choke that they're going to be funneling through. Glimmer trying to make some space, not able to quite find anything. Crypt is a little bit weak, so he's not able to necessarily do anything himself in terms of counter bombing him or anything like that. So blue team will successfully get out of the choke. So things are slowing down once again, not finding any success. No off classes except for Alpha, who is on Spy Caster's Curse. I didn't even realize he was going back. Alpha is getting ready for, I think he's made like 3 plays so far. This match should have been huge. So he's working his way through the shutter. Gonna have to see how easy it is for him to go behind. Yosh is behind, and this might be a very aggressive decloak depending, but it seems like the posture of the red team is gonna back up a little bit. Oh, Mirror Man, please.
Turn around.
He almost bumped into the Spy. That was very, very dangerous for Alpha to be in, but that's definitely going to be the thing that we're looking at here. They're probably going to poke some doors to get them to look at the doorway, and then Alpha's just going to decloak on someone. The question is who will the target be? Obviously, you're going to really want the medic, but sometimes you don't really get that. I don't see him. No, he's spotting drop down and big door at the same time.
There we go.
He's just chilling, but the sniper pick is very tempting right now. Just kind of scoped in. Oh, this could be the moment. Virgil's rotating. Alpha's, he's thinking about it. He's going further back to decloak in, trying to go for it. Alpha's rotating still, able to get one, trying to get on a dingo, but he'll take the one, and that was a very nice patient play coming from Alpha. I think that's his 5th play of the match. Whoever came from the blue team trying to collect as many frags as possible. The sniper's going to be left, and he has no escape mechanism. One little bit of a surf to try to at least buy some space, and actually that surf is going to make sure that not a whole lot bad happens.
Oh, yes, it dies!
That was such a good... Surf made everything so good. They had to look at the sniper for so long that they couldn't even look at the door to stuff it properly. So Crypt just gets in, one decent bomb, able to collect A's in. So no medic on the side of the blue team, trying to work their way into 2 just on sheer number advantage, but they don't necessarily have the health in their favor. It's going to be enough to get this cap, but the question is, will they be able to hold onto it after the fact? We have the red team getting ready to poke into upper to try to put some damage onto these players, but they don't necessarily have a whole lot of people alive. Dingo bombing forward, and it seems like blue team does not want to play this too risky. Back to mid we go. We're not going to go ahead and cap 2. You guys can have it.
Yeah, that was a huge play coming in from Crypt, finding that kill. It looks like we're going to have a sack coming in onto Virgil, getting one rocket. The Uber is not up quite yet. Oh,
the last
Virgil
rocket
will die to Glimmer, and now it's going to be aggression here from the side of Mal. Crypt might die here as well. He's the last one alive, and that will be a full team wipe, as Mal just decided, hell, we could just walk in right now and get the kill. And we have Trip on last already. Alpha's going to join him, and we'll see a 4-1 here after halftime.
Red team got 1 kill. They were definitely not set up for a dry push whatsoever, and the blue team definitely noticed that and took the round away from them. Just a free round, sure, we'll take it. So we're reaching a very dangerous position. We're at match point potentially. Blue team only needs 1 more round, and Mal definitely want it as much as possible.
Bomb onto Virgil!
Trying to get some decent damage, but the second bomb will come in from Glimmer. Virgil pop into the air, 35 HP, very, very weak, but you're losing 2 soldiers for not a whole lot of, in terms of kills. Mir is going to die on the side of the opposing team's point. A nice air shot.
Alpha's behind on Virgil!
Too. Alpha making the 6th play of the match. Flank around, he's able to get 1, able to get 2! Alpha is on fire tonight, salvaging this mid, and the dreams are alive for them to be able to close out this mid. Sai bombing in, trying to get on a dingo, and it seems like it's going to be enough to get some decent damage. Shamu going up, drop down, going to go for a play for himself. Oh, his window. He missed his window. Probably did not expect Asian to be that close to the choke and just wanted to peek and not necessarily go in. So ultimately, it's going to be a 1 mid from the side of the blue team. Shamu is going to clean up in the back line, trying to take a 1v1 with Savrix, and it will not hit the mark. So good position for the blue team to be in. Full Uberad, 1 scout down. It seems like the second is going to be really rough for them to hold, but they're already getting a lot of. They want to push last right off the bat, Godfather.
Yeah, it looks like they're just going to be walking through Shutter. Uber does get popped out. Can they trap off Virgil? No. She will respawn, or get the resupply cabinet, excuse me. Pressure onto point now coming in from Kev, but the cap has not gone through onto second. Crypt and Glimmer going to trade out. There goes Mirrorman taken out, though. Trip is going to go down. There's pressure onto point, but 3 down from Rebirth. Are they able to hold this off? It looks like Kev, Alpha, and Azen are both above. Alpha's going to get taken out by these traps here. Shamu's going to get very low now as Kev and the Demo try to walk in, and that will be the last point, as Rebirth was just kind of forced off of the cap there.
That was a very dominant performance. I mean, not all the way, because, you know, it was a 5-1, but still much more than you initially expected from what happened the previous week. It's a different map, different week, different story. Mal able to take this one away, and I'm sure they're very happy about getting their revenge and making sure that things are a little bit even when it comes to the head-to-head in the RBE versus Mal department.
Yeah, this match definitely does have some implications for the standings. Taking that pretty cleanly, 5-1 is great for Mal and their playoff aspirations. Not really the best match from the side of Rebirth. I was hoping to see them all play a little bit better, but just not having it in their favor tonight. We'll take a quick look at logs.
Yeah, mid and last definitely plagued them. I'm curious to see what Alpha's stats are going to look like, because he was doing insane things the first half, as well as Glimmer. I think Glimmer and Alpha are definitely the ones to give the MVP to for the side of Mal. They definitely pulled out all the stops, and when things kind of got a little bit shaky, they made sure that things went well for their team. And as you can see, they're definitely it shows they got the highest deaths on their team, but that's okay because they went kill positive every time they tried to do something. They found their mark and they were very successful. In Glimmer, aka Savrix, top damaging the whole server on Soldier.
As you mentioned, Glimmer and Alpha going huge. They got 6 and 4 med kills respectively. Very strong performance, able to find Virgil and really put a thorn in the efforts of the side of Rebirth here. Looking at the rest of the logs,
hats off to Yosh.
Yeah, Yosh played well.
Look at his heals too. He did pretty well considering how much heals he got. I mean, it didn't feel like he was baiting or anything like that, and that's why he was able to collect these kills. He definitely did a decent amount, like in the moments where he was trying to go behind and participate with his team. And the sniper plays he had were very, very good. But that's probably why his stats look so good. It's because a lot of his stuff was him performing very well on sniper. That was mostly where RBE's success came from, and a lot of their plays was Yosh coming in, getting a quick shot on someone, and it kind of crumbled from there. And that's how they're able to get their one round. But only one round I got. Mal are able to clean up this match. Good job from them, and it's definitely, like we said before, going to play a big factor into what happens for playoffs. It's not necessarily set in stone for sure exactly how things are going to go out, but this is definitely a match you're going to want to look back to when you think about what could have gone differently or how close it could have been otherwise.
Yeah, just looking at the standings right now, this match knocks Rebirth into 6th place behind Witness Game. So the current playoff pictures, Froyo, GCI, Mal, and GCF. Definitely a shakeup from what we saw early from Rebirth. It looked early on in the season as if they were going to be at the top two for the whole time, but bit of a mid-season shakeup here. Not bad.
Yep. I mean, you can't look at the standings too hard though, because there's a little bit of arbitrary like who plays who first. So, uh, I wouldn't say they're necessarily like when you look at a sixth place team that just lost a match, or like because they're in six now, allegedly. It makes you think like, oh, so they're out, right? But it's not. It's not really that cut and dry because certain teams still have like, oh, you play Froyo next for your next week, and other teams like, oh, you play a move up team. So things will swing back and forth, but this was definitely a match where both these teams are definitely trying to get either third or fourth place in their mind, and a loss here could potentially net you like fifth at best if things don't necessarily go your way. So definitely very very impactful, and we'll have to see how things unfold for the rest of week 6 as well as week 7 before we can get anything really concrete on what is the match to watch and who are the actual bubble teams and who is actually solidified as the third seed.
Yeah, both these teams do have some playoff matches coming up, or playoff matchup matches coming up, if you will. We do have some interviews here. Got Alpha coming into the channel. Great game tonight, Alpha. Jarrett, you got any questions?
Alpha, please explain to me the Chad 2v1 at last.
Hello. Oh, you're talking about the one at Backup? No?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I literally just saw like a soldier, and I thought the other spawner was going another way, so I kind of just wanted to take the 1v1 and see what happens from there. And I don't know, I just saw Yosh like running at me, and then I was like, okay, well, I'm pretty screwed if I run backwards because he's gonna kill me, so I just had to press kind of like W into him, and I don't know, it worked, I guess. I just aimed better.
So, good overall win on Gullywash. You took a little bit of revenge when it came to the previous time you guys played this team on Process didn't end up in your favor. Was picking Gullywash kind of the strategy there because Gullywash and Process play so differently, or was that just kind of how the cards fell this time?
Well, okay, so it was their map pick, but they didn't pick, so then we picked instead of them. And out of the 3 maps, we decided to pick Gully because we were doing pretty well in it before. So against Global Clan Ice, I believe, like we almost beat them. Then we beat Soapy's team on it, so we were like, okay, we're super confident in it because we know how to play.
And Alpha, did you guys do any preparation or watch back the VOD of your first match against Rebirth? Then it was Pudis before taking on this matchup tonight?
No, that match was, I mean, I don't know, we were just like not prepared to play Process. I think honestly we were super not prepared to like know what to do on Process, and there were just some individual beef from us. And we just discarded the map as like, yep, we didn't review it, didn't really practice it, whatever happened, move on, focus on the next matches.
Can you talk a little bit about deciding to go? I mean, I'm sure it's not necessarily this. It probably isn't the question for you, but maybe you have some insight since you're here. Can you talk a little bit about your early season, maybe even preseason? Deciding who was going to play demo and who was going to play soldier between Psy and Sapphirex. Sapphirex, not as experienced on soldier, even though it's the class he's been playing the most, but he definitely pulled out all the stops tonight and did a huge amount of work for your team. So a little bit of insight there on deciding who's going to play what and how the cards kind of fell.
Yeah, so preseason, well, this was meant to be like fun, just like let's play team, like off class, whatever, like not really super serious. And then we couldn't find a sixth, like at all. So we summoned Psy back in. Because the thing with Sai is like he has like his work schedule is kind of conflicting with scrims, and we were looking to see like if someone would want to play like the whole time. But then you know what, let's get the boy back in there because we love playing with Sai. And then we just decided to play like our mains, but like not play too much TF2, just to like try to get Sapphirex playoffs. And if we get like 5th, 6th, like it doesn't matter because we're just like playing for fun. And like truthfully, like we don't really practice like that much. Like I don't really think anyone on my team really plays like TF2 as much as other teams right now. So like whatever happens this season doesn't really like matter. But like obviously we're still gonna try and get playoffs, but not as hard as other seasons, I would say.
Makes
And
sense.
sorry, just wanted to say that like Sapphirex is absolutely like beasting on like Pocket. Like he put like crazy numbers on both good games against Global Ice too. Like he was top fragging, top damaging on our team.
Yeah, if anyone was doubting him before, they definitely can't doubt him now because he definitely did a very, very good job at making sure that plays were made. He died a lot, but made sure that every single death something happened positive for the team. Tons and 3Ks all across the board. So hats on off to him. Going into the future, you got a couple matches left, 6 to be exact. Some big matches and a little bit of some easier matches. Out of all the ones left, do you have any that you're looking forward to in terms of making sure that you can definitely close out? Yeah, on one hand, you have some, Global Clan Ice is still on the board as well as Global Clan Fire, and then Witness Gaming is still up there as well. So, thoughts about the last couple weeks?
So I would say pretty important weeks coming up for the top 6 invite teams. Like I think we're all top 5, top 6, whatever. I feel like we're all like kind of evening out right now. So whoever wins and loses the next matches really matters for playoffs. I would say personally, I'm looking forward to the Soapy match because I just love playing against them, and it's like I don't know, whoever wins either of us is just funny. So yeah, looking forward to that.
I think that game is default scheduled to sometime next week. So if anyone's getting ready to try to figure out when that match is, that is when you would be looking for it. But overall, pretty good match alpha. Definitely took the dub. Well deserved. You played out of your mind. Do you have any last minute shout outs before we close up here?
Thank you, Jared, and thank you guys for casting this. Shout out to the Malcord, shout out to my team, and also to like Aim and Marmaloo, for being there. And yeah, no, looking forward to more RGL casts. Hopefully, we can get cast in the playoffs if we make.
Godfather, do you have any shout outs before we close out?
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you, Jarrett, and Dolphin, as always. Give them some hearts in chat. And for everybody watching, maybe you missed some of the match. There will be highlights as well as a full VOD on YouTube. You can use !YouTube in chat on Twitch and get a link straight to that. So be sure to do that. But that is it for me, Jarrett. What about you?
Definitely parroting the shout out to Dolphin. You would not be seeing this if not for him. And shout out to the viewers that continue to watch the interviews. Yeah, I mean you. I'm talking to you. You've stuck around. You're still here, so hats off and thanks for being with us until we close out. But speaking of closing out, that's pretty much it for us. Don't really have a whole lot more to talk about. Think there is going to be another cast tomorrow. Can't say I know the deets exactly, but I'm sure a little bit of research will give you that information if you want to search up, especially with the rest of the week. We have a whole lot to cover, and it's going to be very important to figure out what is going to happen for the playoff run. But that's about it for us.
I think tomorrow night, 11 p.m., you and I are casting Nest versus Quad, so be sure to come out and watch that match. But yeah, that will be it for us. This has been Rebirth eSports versus Mal, Invite 6's Season 5, Week 6B. Have a good night.